Hello and welcome everybody to today's webinar, hosted by me, Nick Millward from the Mobile Ecosystem Forum on behalf of Dotgo. And today you'll be hearing how RCS counters the OTT messaging challenge. But just to say that this is a really specific session for carriers today. So a lot of what you will hear today is purely carrier specific or MNO specific. Um, so, so looking forward, if we can just move to the next slide, I'm delighted to have an amazing panel of experts for you today, talking and answering any questions that you may have. Firstly, we have Setu Madhavbendi, who is Wireless Solutions Architect at Verizon Wireless, who will talk about the perspective from the US, which is super relevant right now. We also have Inderpal Singh Mumik, who is CEO at Dotgo, who will talk a bit more about, at a global level, around the commercial opportunities and challenges. And finally, we have Abhinav Jha, who is the Head of Business Development for Communication Partnerships at Google. And he will provide an overview about the RCS opportunity. Okay, so just a bit of housekeeping is that if you have any questions, please put them in the chat that you should see below. What we'll probably do is we'll come to those at the end of the presentations, and we'll get through as many as we can. And if we don't manage to cover everything, we'll follow up with you afterwards. Okay, so if we can move to the first slide, I'll just give a very quick kind of set the scene on where we see things from an MEF perspective. And if we could just go to the next slide, please. Fantastic. So just really quickly, at MEF, we run a consumer survey every year, and we run that across 17 different countries, from one end of the world, or one side of the world being China, right the way across to the US, I guess with India in the middle, and Europe and the UK, etc. So there's 17 countries, and this year we had over 5,000 responses from individuals answering a series of questions. And I'm not going to go through everything today, but I'm just going to pull out the one of the slides, which is just to highlight and kind of set the scene for today. So we asked, over 5,000 people responded, and we asked them, how do you receive messages from companies today? So that is A2P messages. So you can see the list there, and that list is in rank order. So at the top, people are saying email, mostly, now followed by WhatsApp, and then SMS very close. There has been a bit of a change in the guard, where WhatsApp now is above SMS, which previously wasn't the case over the last kind of 2 years. And you can look back, if you wanted to, at 6 years of data in here, and have a look in more detail. But the thing to I think that's really relevant for today's discussion, you can see at number 10 there, RCS, only 8% of people are saying across these 17 countries, which pretty much includes all of the countries that are RBM enabled today, are receiving RCS messages. So I think you could look at this obviously as a problem, but also a huge opportunity. So if we move on to the next slide, please. So here's some data or some research from Juniper, and top left here is the standout statistic that we found, is that SMS revenues in Brazil in particular has crashed. They use the word crashed in 1 year. So that's moved from 23 down to 5% in Brazil. We are seeing that SMS market share in some countries is actually increasing, or that certainly the volumes overall globally are increasing. In some countries is increasing, but as a general rule, things very much are dropping. And why are they dropping? It's because of WhatsApp's dominance. And as you saw in the previous slide, other channels are coming to market as well in that OTT space, and potentially taking up revenues and message volumes that could be taken by the carrier community and through RCS. So I think the biggest opportunity that we have really is that this is a growth market still, and the predictions from MEF, but also Juniper, is that the message volumes over the next couple of years should significantly increase. Juniper is saying almost 100%. So from where we are today to where we should be in 2022 is almost double the amount of messages. But the important thing really to point out here is that WhatsApp is seen to be responsible for the majority of that growth. So today you're going to hear from the experts on this, just to the argument on how and why and when RCS can make its move. So I'll hand over now to Abhinav, who I think is with us. And Abhinav, maybe if you just want to start by introducing yourself, would be quite nice, and then I'll let you go from there. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Hello, everybody. I'm Abhinav Jha. I'm a part of a team called Android Business Communications at Google. My remit is to grow RCS for business into a safe and helpful channel for end users and brands in India. Been on this journey for the last 4 years, and I have interacted with Inderpal quite a bit in this journey. So what I'll do is I'll just do a bit of the introduction and what you can do with RCS. I'm not going to specific numbers, but in terms of what it enables for businesses today and the need gap it fills, and we can address specific questions during the Q&A session. Next slide. Next slide. Yep. So the first SMS was sent in the year 1995, right? It was Merry Christmas, and the technologies worked well. It survived for 30 years, and it's worked well for so many years. But I think it's robust, but it's black and white. I think it's time to make the change from a black and white world to a color world, which is where RCS comes in. And the world looks something like this. Aditya, if you can move to the next slide. So what RCS does is it essentially upgrades your current SMS experience to a much richer experience. With RCS, users can send videos, images, GIFs, reactions, and the reactions are really cool if you've tried RCS, and are able to have bi-directional engaging conversations with businesses as well. For businesses, also what it allows them to connect their existing AI agents or any agents which they have to RCS as a technology to reach out and have conversations which are natural sounding with their users. In India, we've seen a number of businesses beginning to do that, and essentially the power of the channel comes alive when you connect it to the existing MarTech platforms you have, the CRMs you have, as well as the conversations which you created. So and all of that within your existing native SMS inbox, where people don't need to install anything new, nor do they need to configure anything to get started. Moving forward. So we now have more than a billion users, and the number is much more using RCS worldwide. A large proportion of those users are in India, so I can speak from a market where RCS is growing rapidly. So RCS can be used for person-to-person communication as well as business-to-person conversation. If you went back a few years and you asked users that how would they want to engage with the businesses, the response would have been voice, or the response might have been they want to visit them physically. But in our recent surveys, when we've looked at that, people want to engage with businesses using messaging, and that is not just it's just not a mere expectation. It for businesses which engage with users on messaging or are available to engage with them on messaging, there is brand preference, which results in tangible business benefits. And that's where also RCS comes in. Moving ahead, Aditya. So there are four areas where RCS helps businesses, and we've seen outcomes. And when we pitch this to brands, this is how we look at it. So first one is of course driving revenue. Now this is a given for marketeers. If you have a channel which allows them to express each other in more than 160 characters, and people respond to images and videos much more today with the attention spans going down. It in itself gives a large fillip over current SMS campaigns which people would have been running. So that's a given wherein we've been running this for quite some time, and across businesses we generally see a 4x to 10x uplift on RCS over current SMS campaigns. Uh, the second one is it's a bi-directional channel, and we're not saying just use it for marketing, but also use it to have, as I said, the conversations, businesses to have conversations and not have one-way messaging where they are just talking to their consumers, but also listening to them. So it helps reduce calls to the call center where you can deflect calls and have convert that into a natural sounding conversation with users. People don't want to call centers today anymore. They would prefer to solve most of their issues on messaging. And of course, if it's an urgent issue or a high priority item, of course they can reach out to the call center, and the channel allows for that. The third thing, what it does is, uh, unlike the predecessor, SMS, it allows you to measure how many messages were delivered, how many were sent, how many were delivered, how many were read, and how many were responded to, and which element of the message was responded to. What that does is that people can essentially uh, look at which elements of their messaging to users is working and iterate and improve performance, and hence improve user engagement. When we work with brands, our uh, our advice to them is to start small, to iterate and then improve. This essentially is a toolkit which allows brands to reach out to users in a richer manner and to measure outcomes. However, the basics of any business messaging platform around personalization, around targeting, and all of those areas remain. But once those iterations are done, businesses start seeing large outcomes around RCS. Going forward. So for those of you who've not seen what an RCS message looks like, these are the areas, and I'll speak about two areas to the top. Um, in the emerging markets, and I'm assuming across the world, we've all seen issues around scam, right? And trust and safety are foremost when designing RCS campaigns and this RCS interface. So the first one is it is as a it's a carrier technology, so it's tied to the SIM. If you remove the SIM, RCS would stop working for the user. Second one is there's a concept of Google safe browsing, wherein if somebody tried to send a malicious URL using RCS, and this works with banking clients, and it's really important to them, safety and security. Uh, so if anybody would try to send a malicious URL, that gets blocked. It's not sent over the channel. The other areas, of course, there's softer elements around verification by carriers, and that's an area of trust. We do not allow for unverified accounts in RCS for business, unlike some other channels, which makes to ensure that a business's ID is never spoofed, and any message which is sent on behalf of the business is always verified by a carrier in that given country. Then, of course, there is a concept of trusted branding. So, if users have interacted with a given business and they see the logo and they know the name, there's a tendency to there's higher engagement with those messages because people have an implicit trust in that brand logo. Of course, there are areas around richer media where you can send different images type. We've started adding videos so videos and images, and we've also added PDFs recently. So invoices, etc., can also be sent, and we've seen great adoption of these use cases as well across India. And there are other areas around where you can have replies, where people can have chatbots integrated and converse with these agents, or actions where it is where essentially it is integrated to the rest of the ecosystem, Google ecosystem, and I can speak about that in detail. Uh, Aditya. And while you're doing that, when you're engaging, essentially when a business has engaged with a user, what it does is that it stays in your inbox, right? It is not transient, unlike notifications which businesses have, app notifications. It remains in your inbox, right? And hence users can come back any point of time and engage with the messages they've had. So even if you've sent a message, and we've seen many times when businesses reach out to users, they don't react immediately. You might be traveling at some point of time, and often they don't react to app notifications, because of which so they can come back at any point of time, pick up the conversation, and start interacting with their business. So it also allows for large amount of retargeting with a given business. Moving ahead, what we've seen RCS for business being used across is in the initial days, brands were using for brand discovery, right? Uh, Lead generation campaigns, product considerations. Um, as time has moved and brands have realized the value of the channel, it is moving down the marketing funnel. It has moved from lead generation to mid funnel to lower funnel use cases across marketing. And now it's moved, we've got significant amount of transactional traffic, service related campaigns. So people are also using for after sales campaigns. They're using for net promoter score campaigns, and also for driving retention activities. So, of course, in the initial days, you see brands tending to use for lead generation, as they use for many marketing campaigns. But as the trust in the channel builds, we've seen brands move down the marketing funnel from lead generation to consideration to purchase, after sales, and of course retention. So, but that's how the journey is generally moved for most brands, and we're seeing use cases across all of these parts of the funnel. Aditya? Uh, just my last couple of slides, and what sort of features which are there for businesses. We've, of course, as I mentioned, it's a rich channel. So if you see to your left, um, the use case which we've seen used a lot by brands is, of course, where they are pitching a given product. The channel, what you see to the left is a rich card, wherein the product is being pitched with an image, a text describing the image, and call to action. There can be up to 4 call to actions, and these were the campaigns which brands usually start. In the second example, you have a carousel, which is also charged at the price of a given message. And in this case, brands are able to show a variety of products or across a range of products to their users with a given call to action and drive purchase behavior. We have seen the other areas which we've seen large adoption is around people using calendar. So essentially, brands can send calendar reminders. So businesses can send, for example, if there are banks who have to send mortgage reminders, or they have to remind people on insurance payments, or if there is a brand which is doing a sale, a Black Friday sale, which starts on an X day at a given hour, they're sending calendar in reminders to people, which invokes the Google Calendar. People save that, and at the given point of time where the sale starts, the Google Calendar pops up and says, "Sale starts now. Start buying." So we've seen a lot of these exciting use cases using the Google Calendar come up. We've seen a lot of physical brands use it, because brands today use it for both digital and physical assets. So if they want to drive traffic to their physical locations, they have linked campaigns to their to Google Maps, wherein you can send a store locator, and people will click on that and see where the nearby store is to go in and buy that particular commodity. Moving ahead, Aditya. Yeah. Apart from that, we've started seeing exciting use cases in PDF, wherein a large number. So I mean, the use cases for PDF are fairly large, wherein most utility companies would be sending PDFs to their users. They might send them on email, but in many emerging markets, not everybody's got an email ID. The identifier is the phone number, right? And hence they send these PDFs on RCS for the invoices, for the electricity bills, for the gas bills, for insurance premium reminders. So, which is emerging as a large use case for brands to leverage. We've recently launched something called as a web view, which allows brands to essentially invoke any web assets they have from within RCS, within the browser. It doesn't move out of the messaging window. And the primary use cases which we've seen are where brands want users to fill in a complex form within a journey, or they want to do a purchase, want to drive purchase. These are some of the areas where we've seen reviews, and we've seen very rapid adoption of this use case. Wherein basically what RCS is doing is it's complementing the existing web assets which the brand already has. And lastly, it also allows for audio files to be exchanged. These are some of the features, and my the way we've worked with brands and the way we've grown is that we've requested people to start small, start testing the channel, and see results, and from there adoption grows. Um, yes, there are other channels and brands always using those, but nobody wants to depend only on one channel. Everybody wants option, and everybody looks to a multi-channel experience. So I think with the experiences RCS offers and the number of areas where number of features which are available to users, we're seeing significant traction from brands in growing this given service. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Abhinav. There's a few questions already coming in, but we'll save those to the end. Thanks again. And so now we'll move on to the US perspective, and we'll hear from Setu, who will take us through that from Verizon. Thank you.
Sure, Nick. Thank you, Nick, and also Abhinav for going on the OTT challenge and also talk about the rich features of RCS. So my name is Setu Bendi, and I'm part of Verizon. I'm a solution architect. I am responsible for both the consumer and also business product solution architecture. So today I'll go over the US RCS opportunity with the US perspective, and including the RCS ecosystem, the key challenges in launching RCS, and also our Verizon view of RCS growth. Okay. RCS is a new standard for business messaging. It's a more secure, engaging, data-rich alternative to SMS. And a key benefit what it is bringing is a native experience, so which works directly within the user's default messaging app, right? User doesn't need to download any app right there. So for the new users or the existing users, they get RCS by default is enabled. The true potential lies in is RCS business messaging, which enables interactive, branded, and multi-rich conversation that transform customer engagement. So today in US perspective, the industry is already using RCS to communicate messages with their customers. So to take an example, like retailers already started using RCS to send personalized promotions with, again, RCS is bringing a lot of rich features, like product carousels, right? And interactive buttons for direct purchases or loyalty signups. Even travel industry, that airlines and travel agencies, they're already using RCS to provide real-time flight updates and mobile check-ins, and also the interactive booking summaries. The healthcare, right? On the healthcare side, they're providing the automated appointment reminders. It does support the calendar integrations with options to confirm or reschedule, or even integrating the telehealth services, right? And entertainment sector too, they're using the RCS to promote events with trailers and reviews, and also they are facilitating ticket sales through web use and other embedded, even embedded buttons mechanism too. Aditya, next slide, please. Okay, so the US market is a significant growth area for RCS, with, again, most of the major carriers move towards adoption of RCS, and also adopting for enterprise use cases. However, there are several key challenges to address. The first one is again, limited RCS expertise available, again, which requires fast learning, and also it requires guidance from experts, right? And another major hurdle has been device fragmentation. So as there is a lack of single and unified experience across all devices, so this has created the two-tier system for customers and different mobile platforms. again, the ensuring a seamless customer experience is a paramount, right? Customers need, they're looking for a single unified messaging experience for all their conversations, like rich features like high resolution photos, group chats, read receipts, and reactions, and the ability to communicate with the businesses as they do with their friends and family. So while RCS is more secure and secure than traditional SMS, there are concerns about unwanted messages or malicious messages. So the robust safeguards and reporting mechanisms are critical to protect users. And also the regulators need to understand this is a new messaging environment, right? It's bringing a lot of rich features, but again, you need to understand this environment to ensure compliance and consumer protection. Just next slide. Okay, so Verizon's core strategy for RCS is to benefit both consumers and also businesses, right? So businesses want to communicate effectively with their customers, and RCS provides the tools for best-in-class interactions through rich and branded messaging. And Verizon, again, Verizon manages RCS as a carrier, the managed service. We have our own task service with appropriate controls, visibility, and policies. This approach is prioritizing protecting customers from unwanted and malicious messages. And also the RCS is inherent features allow for better fraud prevention. RCS also is viewed as a how we are viewing as a natural evolution of SMS, MMS, and RCS business messaging, building on the phone number, right? It's just a phone number to create more dynamic, secure, and beneficial communication channel. Next slide. Okay, so building trust is the foundational element for business to consumer communication. So by default, the verified sender RCS is bringing the verified sender feature is really critical component for RCS ecosystem, right? It ensures the customers that a message is from legitimate, authenticated source. There are vetting processes are implemented, which dramatically reduces the risk of smishing and fraud. So by enabling verified sender, improve the customer experience and adding a layer of the security, safeguarding subscribers from scams and enhancing that enhances your brand reputation too. So this feature also is enabling the branded messaging, right? So it is giving allowing businesses to use their own logo, their own the colors and scheme and brand name, which increases both engagement and conversations. To effectively scale this, automation is really key, right? To creating and managing verified senders for thousands of brands efficiently. Aditya, next slide, please. So this is my final slide. So the ultimate goal is a unified messaging experience where all conversations from either friends, family, and businesses, they coexist seamlessly in one box, right? So this feature is MNO-led feature driven by all operators who own the network and customer relationship. So RCS places MNO at the center of the next generation of mobile messaging. So by embracing and promoting RCS, you are delivering what the market wants, a modern, interactive, and most importantly, trusted messaging platform. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Setu. Please keep your questions coming in the chat, by the way. And as I say, we'll come to those at the end. And now we'll hear from Inderpal to talk about the perhaps the slightly more commercial side with challenges and opportunities within RCS. Over to you, Inderpal.
Aditya, can you stop sharing so I can share? Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Inderpal Mamik. I'm the CEO of Dotgo. We are a company that focuses on RCS business messaging, and we are a subsidiary of Gupshup. I think WhatsApp has been growing very rapidly, starting with P2P messaging, with huge adoption in several countries around the world. About 5 years ago, in 2019, WhatsApp started business messaging, leveraging their relationship with over 3 billion customers today. They have grown business messaging, and they're rapidly growing business messaging around the world. In fact, they have shown that rich messaging has attracted consumers. Rich business messaging has attracted brands, so that tens of thousands of brands now are sending business messages on WhatsApp. The messaging is rich, the messaging is trusted, and it is very aggressively priced, specifically for authentication and transactional messages. And they've shown also with the early adoption of AI use cases that it's the rich surface, the trusted surface, provides a great channel for businesses to deliver AI experiences to the consumers. In fact, what they've shown is very clearly the demand in the market for trusted and rich messaging that slowly starts chipping away at SMS with a huge user base. And from a telecom carrier perspective, it's a call to action. It's an urgency to say, well, how do we respond to WhatsApp? Now, about a year ago, at this time last year, Apple started rolling out RCS on iPhones. And today, with the launch of iOS 26, RCS is now available on iPhones in several large and key markets, and is expected to continue to expand to markets around the world, adding on to the Android user base for RCS that was already present and has also been growing. The net impact of this has been that with the Android and iPhone user base consolidated into an operable cross-platform messaging, native messaging app, RCS reach has now expanded dramatically over the last year. And here are some of the numbers, like some of the key markets like USA, Germany, Spain, France, UK. In all these markets, the RCS reach has gone beyond 70%. In many of the markets, it's approaching or has exceeded even the WhatsApp reach. Similar is the case in some of the emerging markets like Mexico, Brazil, and even in India, where the user base for RCS is hovering around 50 to 80% in these big emerging markets. So this reach and the commitment from Google, Apple, and in fact, the entire mobile carrier community represented by GSMA really provides the vehicle now for carriers to be able to combat the OTT challenge and provide a service that is as compelling, or in many cases, far more compelling than WhatsApp, and then other OTT apps, similar apps like Viber, Telegram, that are also offering business messaging. So much so that we see and three major drivers that are coming together where carriers can really monetize and grow their messaging business by moving from SMS to RCS. The first and foremost is that RCS provides a rich surface, the conversational surface, very well integrated into the Google's ecosystem and into Apple's ecosystem, as a thing you heard from Abhinav. And putting this together from a product perspective is engaging for the consumers, is attractive for the brands. It allows brands to manage a full life cycle of their customer engagement, just like they do on apps or like they do on the web, all within the native messaging app. Of course, Apple is providing a big push in this because of their adoption in markets around the world. But the third major driver is, as we've all seen, AI adoption has been growing, has been expanding. Businesses want to deliver AI experiences to their customers using their own AI agents, and the conversational and the rich nature of RCS provides a surface to deliver this. And done right, this can become the dominant surface to help grow the career messaging services. And we at Dotgo had even seen we pulled together tools that allow you to automatically create RCS experiences that are visual, that are pictorial, that involve things like carousels and buttons and integration to Google ecosystem, all with AI. And the market, from the various analyst estimates, is expected to grow into tens of billions of dollars over the next 5 years. So this one particular report we are citing is from Research and Markets, who expects the market to grow about $25 billion over the next 5 years from RCS. In fact, this phenomenon is global. RCS is being launched by telecom operators around the world and is growing adoption around the world. If you are a carrier and you are looking at, okay, how do we play in RCS? How do we counter our OTT challenge? Maybe in your market there is WhatsApp, maybe in your market there is Viber. You probably fall into one of two categories. Number one, well, I've heard about RCS. How do I launch? How do I get started? How do I actually move my SMS messaging and the text messaging and black and white messaging into color and into rich messaging? And the number of questions, well, can I compete with WhatsApp? WhatsApp is already dominant in my market. How does it work? Who do I have to partner with? Is Google a partner to work with, or there is somebody else who provides RCS service? If it's Google, how do I get integrated with Google? How do I launch with Apple? Is it a cost to launching RCS? How much do I need to incur? When will I recover my investment? If I start today, how long will it take? Can I launch in the next 3 months, 6 months? And then if I launch, what's the monetization model? Okay, you maybe, P2P is free. So how do I monetize A2P? How quickly will the monetization grow? And for many of the telcos who in markets where there's a difference in the international price for SMS versus the domestic price of SMS, well, the question comes, how do I maintain that difference for RCS? Can I maintain it in the RCS? Can I protect my international SMS revenue when I move to RCS? So these are all valid questions that we hear from telecom operators around the world, and we work with them to launch and guide them through this journey. Then there are, maybe you already launched RCS, and the growth you are seeing is well, you're not seeing the growth that you would like. There are some countries we work with carriers like where we have seen dramatic growth, and there are many carriers we talk to. We are saying, okay, we are seeing very, very anemic growth. So how do we grow faster? How much can we grow? I have to expand traffic. I have to expand revenue. How do I price RCS so that it competes with the OTT channels? And I'll give a specific example of an OTT challenge for pricing as well soon. Or maybe traffic is starting to take off. I had a few dozen brands launching. Now there are hundreds. How do I automate my processes? As Setu said, automation is key to be able to scale. So how do I scale? Maybe I'm also concerned about spam, and how do we control spam? How do we make sure unwanted messages are kept to a minimum, or I can eradicate them completely? In this market, am I competing with other operators, or should I be cooperating with other operators? How does the market operate? What sort of collaboration can help with the other operators? Maybe you heard when you're launching with Apple, you're moving to a carrier toss. I mean, many of the carriers have launched on on Android with Google terms of service, but now I have to launch on Apple, and that's important, but I have to move to carrier toss terms of service. How do I do that? How do I integrate with Apple? And one of the other questions is, okay, AI-based journeys are very attractive. I want to be able to offer conversational experiences to my businesses. I want to attract them to use RCS as the surface to deliver AI. How do I go about doing that? So here's an example of a particular pricing challenge we have seen. This example is taken from Brazil, but you can similar examples exist in multiple markets. So in Brazil, SMS is priced at about 5 cents, 5 local Brazilian real cents, and WhatsApp came out with a model where they said, well, you can deliver transactional and authentication messages just with less than 4 cents, taking a lot of this high quality traffic into WhatsApp. Of course, there are certain challenges there that you could exploit. That WhatsApp, as Amitav said, continues to work even if the SIM card is removed. RCS has a very strong value proposition, especially for authentication, where it stops working if the SIM card is removed. But the pricing is a major driver for brands as well. And what we've seen when there was RCS pricing present, RCS pricing is linked more to SMS at 5 cents, or linked more to the type of the richness of the content. Rich content costs 7 cents, whereas the basic content costs 5 cents. And WhatsApp is able to kind of provide the same price for rich content and basic content at a price lower than SMS and RCS, driving a lot of traffic away, which is what's causing some of the SMS growth in Brazil to decline. So how as a carrier, how do I come up with a pricing model that is able to compete with this? Now, Dotgo, what we do is really work with carriers around the world to help them launch, help them grow, help them monetize RCS, help them with billing solutions, pricing solutions and other technologies that kind of provide that support they need to really grow RCS. We have seen, we started working on RCS platforms along with Google, in partnership with Google in 2019. And we have seen the traffic grow on our platforms a lot, working with the carriers. We really started traffic in 2023. We had about 1 billion messages, and this year we are on path to having over 20 billion messages go over our platforms. And we have been advising carriers on how to achieve that. We developed together with Google the first map gateway around the world to be able to assist carriers to launch RCS in partnership with Google. The first RBM hub to help drive traffic into RCS and bring traffic into telcos from around the world, from domestic brands, from international brands. We've been investing in the technology, in the standards, participating and contributing to the RCS standards that are being developed by GSMA. There are multiple patents in this space. We power some of the largest MNOs for the RCS initiatives like Vodafone Idea in India. And we currently carry over like 2 billion messages per month to over 25 countries. Our offering for carriers includes a robust, all-rounded system which consists of technology and products that help carriers do onboarding, help carriers do launch their services with Google, but also includes managed services. So we can provide verification, make sure that the consumers trust the brands, that each brand that comes on has been verified and confirmed to be genuine. We provide services to support aggregators so that the traffic grows with SLAs. So there is immediate response to traffic surges and any concerns and any support function needed on how to use a service, how to fully benefit from a particular feature of RCS. We provide extensive support for billing and reconciliation, billing of aggregators, reconciliation with Google, as well as flexibility on pricing. How do I price so that I can price transactional messages different from marketing messages? I can price authentication messages in a different price so that in case there's a reason to counter OTT challenges with pricing and to meet them on the pricing side, you can do that. In case there's a reason to counter OTT with the fully verified, trusted mechanism using the RCS built-in trust mechanism, yes, we can do that. We also provide a ways to protect your revenues, international revenues from domestic revenues. In case in markets where it's important to keep the distinction, we provide the tools and the firewalls needed to maintain a difference between domestic and international traffic. And then we also provide a service called where we bring in traffic from brands, from ISVs, from resellers into the ecosystem, so you actually grow and monetize your traffic as well. Launching RCS also requires you to do authentication and provisioning. Again, as Abhinav said, it's one of the big features of RCS is that it starts working automatically when you put the SIM card in the phone or an eSIM in the phone, and it stops working when the eSIM comes out. That requires provisioning and deprovisioning and requires certain integration into the network, which we build the expertise and we've helped many telcos accomplish that with our tools. In the interest of time, I'm going to skip some of the details, but happy to cover that at a later stage. And we provide a full a program called the 5P program, which consists of managed services across the spectrum of managing the product, managing the policies, defining and running the processes, bringing together the partnerships needed to launch and grow traffic, and the expertise on the pricing at which RCS is offered and then can be built. Some of the carriers who are leveraging from our platform, from our technologies include operators in North America, India, Africa today. Let me kind of pause here, Nick, and you can go to Q&A.
Sure. Thanks, Inderpal. So we have got a few questions. Let's start with, and I don't know who wants to take this one, but first question is, how will RCS impact my A2P SMS business?
Okay. Would you like to take that, Abhinav?
Yeah, I can take that. So just looking at, and this question we've dealt with quite a bit in the past, where there were concerns that is that going to cannibalize into the A2P business, existing A2P business. So the way we look at it is that as we've seen RCS scale, we have seen it complement the existing A2P business. So what has happened is we've seen a lot of new use cases come up, right? Brands, of course, often start with converting some of their SMSs to basic messages, but gradually, as they realize the value of the channel, right, they upgrade those experiences to richer experiences, and the bidirectional nature of the channel brings naturally evolves it to them experimenting with richer feature sets, and of course that results in higher revenue. So we've seen it additive and not having a detrimental impact to the business. It's always been a net positive, at least what we've seen in this country.
Right. Some of the things that we're seeing across the ecosystem in that as well is that it's very much a marketing based messaging platform, or it really lends itself towards marketing. So SMS predominantly notifications, one-time passwords. That's where the volume is. But I think what RCS obviously offers is different to that, right? It's different to just the quick kind of code you might get, or reminder that shopping's being delivered, or reminder that you have a doctor's appointment. So it kind of really takes you to another level. So in effect, it's different to a large extent. Next question is, why would brands opt for RCS messaging over WhatsApp? Is it only price? How would we argue for that?
I think let me take that, and I'm sure Abhinav would also want to comment on that, but let me kind of start there with that. So many brands have already adopted WhatsApp messaging, have integrated WhatsApp messaging into their backend system, so they can drive their marketing campaigns, drive their commerce and sales campaigns, and after sales support campaigns using WhatsApp. So naturally look at, okay, well, why should we adopt RCS? We've already integrated with WhatsApp. And usually the argument is, well, we want to be able to support the customers wherever they are. Yes, we know we have customers on WhatsApp, but we also have customers on the native messaging app. We have customers on Android messages. We have customers on Apple messages, Apple iMessage, and we want to support them in those channels as well. So they adopt a multi-channel, omni-channel strategy. Then there are other factors comes in. Well, if you want to send messages which require authentication, well, we know that the RCS can be a more trusted channel because it really depends upon the SIM card being in the phone. It does not continue if the user has changed his phone number, if the phone number has been discontinued. Is really a more evidence of the fact that the user actually controls the phone number on which they are communicating. For certain types of functionality also, in terms of the integration into the Google ecosystem, like the calendar, like the maps, it's a very it's even more well balanced than a WhatsApp, which is integrated into the Meta ecosystem. Then they're also looking at the fact that, well, I can start showing my RCS agents inside Google search. And if somebody search for, okay, how do I support for United Airlines, they can see an RCS link, an RCS chat link right in the results of their search. So brands look at benefiting from both the Google's and the Meta ecosystems and to adopt both. In certain markets where WhatsApp is not prevalent, then there is an additional reason, well, to adopt RCS, because this is really the only game in town, or maybe they are competing with Viber and then they kind of adopt RCS there as well.
I can chime in from a couple of observations from brands. The first observation, which generally come from banks, has been that we send a lot of transactions and service messaging on an SMS inbox. A bulk of our messaging and communication with end users is that. We don't want users to be searching for different messages, different types of messages from the same brand across different types of inboxes. So it just makes sense for them to stick to one inbox. And that's been a logic for some brands using RCS. The other logic has been, and I saw the question was, is it only price? Actually, when marketers look at it, they don't even look at price. The only determining factor is ROI, return on investment. If I'm using it for acquisition, what is my cost of acquisition? If I'm looking for retention, what's my ROI? And hence, in some business cases and some use cases where it is you essentially see the way RCS is structured or the other channel is structured. Uh, in some cases, the ROI on RCS is better. In some cases, it might be better on the other channel, but it is horses for courses. Businesses use both channels. They make choices, not basis price, basis value, which is delivered by the channel at the given price. So those are the two differences. There are, of course, areas around reach as well, because on RCS, you get guaranteed reach. On the other channels, sometimes you're not in control whether the message will reach the user or not. And then there are others around features, but primarily ROI, control on reach, and third one being basically they want to keep users on one channel.
Yeah, completely agree on the ROI. That is the marketer's kind of go-to metric, really. And I think there are generic behaviors in different countries, but I think it comes down to individual user level as well. So in country, you may find one user might be engaging more on WhatsApp or Viber or something compared to RCS, but another user, very similar, but maybe engaging better on RCS. So as Abhinav says, I think it adds it to the mix. It puts in the mix. It's not one's better than the other necessarily. It will come down to user preference and the ROI against potentially somebody at user level. The next question is, are there any potential obstacles to going live with RCS? I don't know if that's slightly more technical potentially. I don't know if Setu wants to answer.
I think there's a lot of questions that operators have of how to go live with RCS. Yes, there are certain technical elements that every telco needs to do. There's a partners they need to select as to who is going to be the RCS provider, what is the RCS servers they're going to use, where Google is usually the answer, where they work with Google to as their RCS provider. Then there are questions about, okay, how do I integrate with Google? And do I get a map gateway? Do I get a map, some sort of my own system to manage RCS, or do I use only the Google system? And so there's a partner to be selected to work together with Google to deliver, to implement RCS. And then there's a question of, well, do I have expertise? How do I get the expertise that I need to be able to make the right decisions, to be able to right pricing in the market? Who are the partners I use to verify and make sure the channel is trusted, that every brand is properly vetted as they launch. And then there's also support they usually need on managing spam on the channel and adopting the right policies, which we help the telecom operators. Google also helps the telecom operators on the right policies to ensure the channel is trusted and delightful for their customers.
Right. I think we've reached time now, guys. So I'll just quickly wrap it up there, because I think we'll see people drop off very rapidly now. But just to say, I think we got through an hour's discussion on RCS and we didn't mention Apple, which is a first for me. So there was a question in the chat about that. We will come back to any questions we didn't get to, but I just want to say huge thanks to Abhinav, Setu, and Indapal for the session today. Thanks everybody for joining. It's been a great session, and we will come back to you individually to recap on everything we've gone through today. So thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you again soon.